Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Energy Healing Lifestyle Journal, Self-Care Challenge Day 33. We are talking about communication, your truth, what all that means, different types of communication. Get on here and share us out a little bit as we do. Let's see, here we are. How is it going for you? Are you journaling at all for yourself? Are you taking some time to take care of you? And if so, how are you doing that? Go ahead and drop it in the comments there and let me know. Are you finding these videos helpful and useful? Do you try out any of the homework? Again, drop it in the comments. Let me know if you find benefit in them, what differences or changes that you may notice. Um, oh, hey, there you are. Hi, Iona. Iona says, hey, love. Because early? Yeah, a few minutes. Yeah, I'm doing great. Fantastic. I'm doing pretty well also. I did my journaling this morning, so I brought my journal with me. I feel like this is rubbing on my face. Hang on. Hopefully that helped. Had some notes about communication, so going to go over some communication styles like we do, right? We talk about assertive communication and aggressive or passive communication and listening styles. And it's so funny because I don't remember which day it was, but I was still reflecting on communication, right? And I talk about actively listening and reactively listening. But then what else popped in was selective hearing, which is part of actually reactive listening because it's not necessarily actively listening. However, it was just comical to me. So I added that too. So we'll talk about active listening, reactively listening, and then selective listening, right? It's again similar to the reactive because we're hearing those keywords or we're shutting out certain things. My granddaughter, like I literally asked her 2 to 3 times if she needed anything before I got started, and now she's up moving around. Because no, not until you actually start, right? Iona says, how many people have watched your videos and you didn't know and they told you after? So beautiful. True. That is so true. Yeah, I did have some people share with me that they were watching and then commented on them, and I had no idea at all. Like it didn't show that they had watched and, they didn't comment or anything, so I had no idea. Sorry, distractions and chaos has to occur as soon as you try to do something live, right? Not has to, but sometimes does. Life, what is it you say, Anna? Life is life or whatever. Anna says, haha, selective hearing. My sister used to say that about my dad. It's funny because yeah, we used to say that about my dad too. And then he said the same about us. So he probably really taught us the skill. Just saying. He would sometimes, my mom and I would crack up because he would be right in the same room with us and act like he didn't hear what we said, right? But he could be in another room with TVs on, sleeping. I do air quotes, sleeping. And we would whisper or say something quietly, and boom, he'd comment to it. It's like, how weird you could hear that across the room with the TV on. But when we're right next to you, you're like, huh, what? What? Are you talking to me? It's hilarious. Oops, Miss Mel. Yeah, she's amazing. She really is. It's just funny that I kind of, yeah, it's like you have a hunch, right? Sometimes you have a hunch and then you have to watch yourself so you're not trying to create a thing. But I had a hunch, and so it is. And it says we trust the value is being experienced. Yeah. I want to hear it though, right? So we also want to encourage some engagement. So absolutely. It says, haha, life is life. It is what it is. That saying, yeah, sometimes it just is, right? That radical acceptance. It's just is. Don't have to get caught up in it. And it says, oh my God, my dad used to do that exact thing. Right? What? Huh? What are you talking to me? What? The hunch. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like literally, I asked her a few times, do you need anything? Do you need to get up? And she'd think about it. No. I'd ask her again. No. Oh, I want a hug. Okay. So I get a hug. Okay, you're good? Yeah. I hop on this live and she's like up, moving around, going, shh. serious kid. Out the door she goes, trips over my mom's oxygen hose. So my poor mom, that probably felt lovely for her. Anyway, so hopefully you don't hear the TV now that the door is wide open. Yeah, the hug was sweet, right? That's a nice little delay. I don't mind that at all. Or maybe this is just me or life saying, wait till 1 o'clock. Maybe had I waited, none of this would have, occurred. Right? Yeah. Yeah. I feel bad because if you pull on it, happens enough, it's on her face. So she didn't yell, so hopefully she's fine. Didn't hear a thing from mom, so I think we're good. So communication styles, right? Now I know she heard me. I communicated to her. I'll just use that for the example, I guess. Maybe that was my talking point for the day. I communicated it to her, and then she verbalized and communicated back in a way that said that she fully heard what I was saying. She understood my question, right? Because she fully responded to me. But she's also a child, so there's that. Oops, I missed one. Iona says, can't hear the TV. Good, thank goodness. Yeah, because they're like, yeah, right, maybe that was just it. Here, I just figured I'd hop on, but there's that. Yelling. Yeah, thank goodness. I'm glad you're laughing. Laughter is good. Absolutely. And we'll laugh about this later. It'll be fine. So here she comes back. We'll see what's next. No, I'm just kidding. Iona says you're cracking me up so bad. Good. That's amazing. Can you shut the door, please? Thank you. There's a door wide open and she's like this, trying to come in the room. Dude, you're just killing me. Remember yesterday I talked about that breath? Just take in that nice deep breath and you hold it for a second. And you release and it's all good, right? It's all good. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love you too. Thank you. My jaw's still stinking hurts. Oh my God, you're making me be so loud. I'm not making you anything. I was trying to be quiet. My bad. Okay, let me get it. Sorry. At least we're having fun, right? That's perfect for Relationship Freedom Fridays, isn't it? So I literally had this all broken down, right? It looks so nice and neat and organized. Probably can't see that really on my paper and my journal. I even started myself off with the basics just to get, my own energy flowing this morning before the journal. It is a good one though, so probably threw that 15 minutes out the window, hence I just been talking for 8 already. They talked about communication styles and including that selective hearing, right? And then how all of our communication styles affect the energy in the throat chakra and vice versa. The energy in our throat chakra is going to affect how we communicate because if it's all gunky or overactive, definitely affects our communication styles. And then how we communicate in addition to that speaking your truth, as I talked about on other Fridays, days, time, illusion. On other Fridays for throat chakra healing and communication in your truth, which truth are we speaking? Because we have two. We have our ego truth and then we have our spirit truth, right? Excuse me, but which one are we speaking? Which one is speaking up or speaking out or being mindful and processing first, right? In relationship freedom, like obviously, what is so important in relationships but communication? So all of those things play a role in that relationship. The relationship with ourselves, the relationship with our ego self, the relationship with our highest self, right, with spirit, and then relationship with others. Like this is huge. We could probably really spend a couple hours on this day. Just saying. Let me come back here. I know this is moving. Was trying to be quiet. Iona says jaws so hurt. Oh, it does. I've been doing better though, backing off of the pain medications. Like it's just Motrin, but still Motrin's really not good for your body either. Breathe. Yeah. And it works. Really, it does. Like sometimes I used to say it didn't because it's subtle, right? Energies and things are subtle. So sometimes in my humanness, we want that big change, that big, obvious, noticeable change right now, instant gratification. And since it doesn't necessarily come that way, or because my mind is taken over and it's not allowing myself to be aware of it, I didn't notice the benefit of that breath before. So I'm so truly grateful. And it's not just like a talk, it's so truly grateful that I do now. And I could really lean into that energy when I take that breath and be mindful of it and notice it and the benefit of it. It's amazing. Yep, Relationship Freedom Friday. So for those who may not know yet, RFF stands for Relationship Freedom Friday in the Soul Legacy Journal with Ionomy, the intentional living code. So really, when you think about that, all of this that I just mentioned today, being intentional with it, intentional of the style of communication that we use, right? Intentional in the ways that we listen, fully and actively intentional how we take that breath before we just react and regurgitate out something that's like icky old wounds of projected grossness, right? Being intentional and speaking our highest truth and not just letting the ego take over, being intentional in our relationships. And it says 8 minutes in. Oh my God, just smell this. I know. It's funny because even today I was like, after I did this one, I'm like, 15 minutes sounds great. Maybe 30, maybe 30. It's funny. I'm not necessarily setting a time limit, but yet as I'm scheduling and being more intentional with my schedules, and then I know that my time for these lives are going to change because I scheduled myself office hours during this time because I really didn't see another time to be able to schedule it. So this time is probably going to change. So again, being mindful of how I'm scheduling my business hours. So then trying to create, a generalized ideal time frame is going to be useful in that, but we'll see how it goes. I'll try it on, see how it fits. As Iona likes to say, try it on, see how it fits. Like it, keep it, don't take it off. Iona says relationships with those in our workspace and environment and working online. It all ties in absolutely, like every single relationship, right? Up close, distant, all of them. And it says, and how we handle it and look at how you handle the communication and live life and be normal and not be perfect. Because normal's definitely not perfect. Sorry. But it's true, right? And I think, again, we need to normalize that. And we've had that conversation before. Like, yeah, need to normalize that some things feel icky. I need to normalize that things could be a challenge. I need to normalize that spiritual awakenings are very painful. I need to normalize like all that stuff. That is normal. It's not the perfection. It's not the like it doesn't require effort. It absolutely requires effort, right? That's the whole idea of the intentional living codes to allow that effort to be less like strenuous in a sense, because when we make those habits, we've talked about the habits as well, right? The habits, the patterns, and creating new habits, breaking the old ones that don't really serve us, and then creating the new ones. And that also came up in my journaling on our communication styles and forming those habits and the cycles that we create in the ways that we communicate. And I'll get to that. Let me finish with these comments first. And it says truth instant, right? We do. We want the instant gratification. Very intentional. All of it. Boom. Absolutely. Walking our talk, baby. I want to say 100%. That's the intent, right? 30 minutes. It's an idea. We set goals, right? We set goals. And it says mine are going to change. Are they? Your timing and stuff, right? Mine would be at 11 UK time from October. See? Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure. I was thinking 9ish for my own, but we'll see. Maybe that would be Eastern Standard Time for mine. Iona says, yep, I will try it on. Yeah, why not? And we have those choices, right? We talk about that too. We have a choice in every moment. Every moment we can make a different decision if we want to. It's great. Thank you. Truth, normalize. I believe so. Absolutely. It's not normal to be quote unquote perfect. What the heck is that? It sounds fake and phony to me, because humans aren't perfect. Now, yes, we can justify and say, because in the spiritual communities, right, we say everything is perfect and in divine timing, and there is some truth to that. I'm not minimizing that. But it's the idea of what perfect actually is. Because we say that, and then we have this image or expectation of what perfection is. And that's not what that saying is at all. It's more like the normalizing the icky grossness that we go through in our human life experiences, but realizing that we learn along the way and that we have these opportunities that do arise along the way. And sometimes that's just the process of releasing some of the junk and gunk we've been lugging around all this time, right? And in that sense, it's perfect and in divine timing. But again, the human brain likes to mess things up a little bit and get it twisted and more confusing, right? So some of the cycles I was journaling on today is going through the communication processes and the styles that we have. And it was so cool how when we journal, how some things can pop up, right? Um, Old programs and conditions. So I was not fully raised, but I heard some of it. And then working with other people, I heard more other people who had these beliefs or ways that they were conditioned, things that they had heard. And one of the sayings was not to speak unless you're spoken to. Like that was the old respect type of thing. Like for your kids, you're to be quiet and you don't speak unless you're spoken to. Otherwise, you're being disrespectful. Can you imagine? My rebelliousness, I broke that right away. So I don't know if that was actually trying to come into my lifetime. It didn't work out so well. This one did, though. However, if you don't say the right, quote unquote, right thing, then you're not loved. Or if you don't say the right thing, you're not good enough. Um, So you need to say what other people want to hear, right? That is a conditioned pattern, a conditioned belief, and it's based on being a kiddo when you don't know any better. And when you have I'll say adults or older people around you, the way they respond to you, those are the ones you go to learn right from wrong in a sense as a kid, right? So when you're getting negative feedback, if you have a different of opinion of something, then you kind of learn to either be quiet or say what they want to hear. You start to learn what other people like, and then you repeat that. And I think we see a lot of that in our society. So then that came back into that relearning. We as humans need people, whatever, spiritual beings on this human plane need to relearn that it's okay to disagree. It's okay to be different, right? It's okay if you're not a good fit or compatible with other people. That normalizing, let's normalize that. It's okay. There's that saying, well, you can share differences of opinions, and then you've realized that you just have a difference of opinion, and then you just agree to disagree and move on. Like, move on. That was such a skill to learn. Like, it's okay that something is this way for you and completely different for me. Why do we feel, and I've been there, like this is a characteristic of codependency. So I've shared before in my life of codependency. But that old, again, conditioned program that if it doesn't fit, if we don't match what other people are saying, or we don't agree with other people, or we don't believe the same, then now we're that misfit again, and now we don't belong again. But not just a misfit, because I can be okay with that now. That has a different meaning to me now. But when it didn't, it wasn't okay, right? I wanted to fit. I wanted to belong. I wanted to feel okay. I wanted to feel worthy. I wanted to feel loved, right? Those are common, normal human things too. But that's also an attachment. So you attach to other people in that aspect, right? So now we have to break those attachments of those expectations. All of this stuff boiled down to, by the way, abandonment. And which is interesting because, and think of this in an energetic aspect, and I'll come back to comments. I'm just going to keep going with the flow for a moment, so forgive me. Excuse me. Because as I'm writing through this, abandonment abandonment thing came up. I'm like, well, that's real interesting because like my parents, I didn't come from what they call broken homes, right? My parents were married until my dad passed just a few years ago. So they were both physically in the home. My brothers were physically in the home. What they were, though, was emotionally not available, right? They didn't physically abandon me. I'm not, this is not a blame, shame, or guilt, okay? This is observation only. But they didn't physically abandon me in any way. However, I didn't have certain emotional, energetic needs met in the aspect of when I didn't understand things, I was kind of shut down. Or when I was, quote unquote, too sensitive about stuff, I was shut down. When I tried to display with love in ways that they didn't understand, right? 5 love languages, because people are different. We didn't know that then. So there was that, you're on your own kind of thing. So even though like my family physically were always together, there were certain I came in, right? Whatever you want to label me as far as like star seed, whatever. But I came in shaking things up a little bit, being the misfit, quote unquote, an oddball or whatever, black sheep. And my brother Mike actually was kind of labeled the black sheep of the family, but he went about things in a very different way. But I think he and I had more in common than we had a chance to really talk all the way through, but we did get through some of those conversations. Um, but yeah, that sense of abandonment. And then how does that cycle repeat itself? It's when it's all you know, right or wrong, quote unquote, when it's all you know, healthy or unhealthy, we can label it that way or make the difference in it that way. Again, just for observation. But when it's all you know how to do, it's what you continue to do, right? So I have said before that I know how to um, go into solitude and just meditate and process and figure things out in a sense, or at least get myself to a space where I can process and then go through, look at it some more or talk about it. That's what I know. Or other people do more talking, right? Which, to be honest, in my opinion, made me a great therapist because I was able to listen, right? Just let people talk and not always have to interject. Where some people really want to talk more, and that's fine, and that's great, and that's what we do. And again, we've had this conversation before, but I'm just kind of bringing more pieces in together and making that connection energetically. We repeat these cycles, and I'm still not saying that going into solitude and processing is a terrible thing. It's my way, and that's okay. Um, I had though, in reflecting back before that, I've had moments of like testing people and pushing people away. So when you have that sense of abandonment, almost it's like I had that thought process or pattern of I'll get you before you get me, right? I'll leave you before you can leave me. You're not going to hurt me. I'll hurt you before you hurt me. And it wasn't to be rude and mean and nasty, although you hear it and it sounds quite rude, mean, and nasty. It was that defense mechanism, right? It was a survival skill, if you will, how we knew how to survive because I didn't know different at the time. So I was making these different notes in my journal as well, reflecting back in different ways that I had done that or that test, right? Let me put this out there and see what you do with that. Can I trust you? Like, I need to know I can trust you. Why? Why? No, I don't. No, I don't. But I think it's cool. I think it's really cool when we can journal and reflect back and see how things have changed over the years, right? Different parts in our life where patterns, you made those connections and you could see how patterns repeat and cycles repeat. And then you could start to see how you do things differently and how it plays out. And then you can reflect, and again, 10 years from now, you could probably do the same thing. But it all boiled down to as I went through this whole process of my journaling, and it just took 1 page, by the way. Like I just said, a lot more than 1 page, but 1 page made all these different connections throughout my life. And I think it's divine timing as well because I'm adding and creating more into my Reiki 2 course, right? And what is Reiki 2? Some of the main things I wanted to focus on, distance healing. And that distant healing, not just from like, the States to the UK, but also time, past, present, future generations, right? Generational healing. Absolutely. So I love this, that this came up and how, again, that all those pieces fit together and how we can work on our chakras to make those connections. Throat chakra healing, that's massive. And again, all the energy moves and affects the energy in all of the other chakras as well. So thank you for letting me go on my rant and ramble on that one to get through it. And let me come back to the comments. Where did I leave off? Truth normalize. Is it this one? Iona says, yep, can you imagine that would not have worked with my Mia? Right? People pleaser came to mind. Yeah, I mean, that's a big characteristic of codependency. Iona says, that's huge abandonment. I had that from my father for sure. I think it's not uncommon at all, whether it's physical, emotional, energetic, all the above, right? We've been talking about, Iona, you talk more about dating than I do because I'm not necessarily dating. But in that dating world, right, when you're meeting people and you're getting to know people and whatnot, and sometimes you meet people who are emotionally unavailable. It's like you might be single, you're not married, you're not in a relationship with somebody else, but you're also not emotionally available, and that's huge, isn't it? And we can see a lot of times where that comes from, and it may or may not be that physical abandonment. It could be energetically, emotionally. And it says emotionally not available, right? I hear that the connection not being there. Yeah. Or there's that all those fears. We talk about the fears too, right? Like we talk about the fears in business of showing up, speaking out, and serving deep. I think that's true for relationships too. Like to what degree do you want to open yourself up to? To what degree are you willing to, especially like early on in dating? What degree are you willing to be vulnerable and trusting, right? I think that's pretty massive. And it says, thank you for this. It is resonating. It resonates with your truth. And today, for me, being told to lower my voice and imply I am too loud triggers for me that I will not take on anymore because I love me, self love. Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad it's resonating and helpful for you. It's hard when we get triggered like that, isn't it? And I feel you. And because I've shared before, like staying with my mom, like the first year and a half, we're only going on 2. The majority of the time I've been here. Was challenging, but thank goodness. A lot of clearing, a lot of shifting, a lot of changes, and I'm so grateful. Iona says the defense in relationships, especially. I agree. I used to be terrible, terrible with the defenses, like chip on my shoulder and just waiting, like try me. It was bad. I'm glad I don't. I assume I don't have that now. I don't know if I can even say, right? I'm going on 6 years single come January, so to be determined. Iona says, nope, I don't, right? Journaling is massive. It is. I love it. For reals. And you don't even have to write out every word for word for word for word. You can. I used to, right? But this is cool too. Not gonna lie, hopping on here and doing the verbal like blogging in a podcast format in a sense. Well, informal for myself here. But being able to get on and do that because I can do these bullet points and I can still get this out and bring it into my awareness and allow these connections to occur and allow this releasing to occur and then bring it on and share it with you and continue on with that releasing, right? And those connections come up because then the more we speak it out and the more we can release it. And sometimes what if something else needs to drop in with it, it can. It is beautiful. Part of that walking our talk, right? And it says, oh, I love that distance healing of generations. Me too. And I'm so stinking excited. That's why I haven't uploaded anything yet because I know I can feel it, kind of that hunch in a different way that there's more. So, like, I have all my PowerPoints together. I've kind of mentally run through them. I'm like, still sitting with it to put more in there. I have the first one in, by the way, like completely in. I think there's a couple tutorials. I can't even say that word, tutorials I want to add for Reiki 1 in the boot camp. And yep, then I'll be recording Reiki 2 shortly. It is your show. You can rant and ramble. I am here to listen. Thank you for that. And it says, haha, yep, dating. And dates, yeah, well, Yep, no thank you to emotionally unavailable, and it's not for me, right? But I check myself too. I'm just saying this came up for me because journaling is to do that inner reflection, right? To check in with ourselves. I'm wondering, like, I obviously have made myself very unavailable, right? Going on 6 years single, not only emotionally, but mentally and physically and in all the ways. I'm just like, nah. Or I tried on the idea a couple times and I was like, nah, enough doing, enough that I'm focusing on with my energy right now and I'm clearing and doing and clearing and doing and I'm okay where I'm at. It's like, no, not yet, which is fine. And this is that's why I bring these principles into relationships. Absolutely. It is so important, right? Oh, 1818. Fantastic. And it says layers we shall see to be determined, right? Lots of layers. But as you also say, when it comes to the relationships and the dating, like over 50 now, myself, 52, I think the ideas of just dating or dating lots of people or getting what have I done my whole stinking life so far? Not all of it, but you know what I mean? I've had lots of time to meet new people and to date and to, but I also not wasted. I also spent a lot of time repeating cycles, right? Choosing the similar types of people. So even though they say, and I believe it to be true, that we might have relationships with certain people and they're not healthy or we not compatible, so we break it off with that, we break that relationship. But the next one is a repeat. It's a different person, same situation. Different person, same characteristics. Different person, same type of experience, right? So it's that whole thing I want to break. Am I fully focused on it? Nope. Just being honest and transparent. However, all the things that I am focusing on, I believe will play a role in there, right? So all of this stuff needs to clear. Is it directly connected with that type of relationship? No, but is it directly going to affect that type of relationship? 1,000,000%. So when I don't want to say done, but when I clear enough in these situations, right? When I feel clear enough, or at least aware enough that I can move through it without projecting and repeating the old cycles, then I may choose to date again. We'll see. And who knows? I could be completely surprised and not even aware that I'm already ready and I could run into someone and have a date tomorrow. Who knows? Just saying. Life is interesting. And it says again, you and Ramona are showing me the value with the 7-day and daily life. I think so. I think it's massive. I'm seeing it more, doing it more, to be honest, right? Like, I mean, I got it, surface level at least, but doing it and then having the experience of it, it's definitely even more and more. And it says, yay for the tutorials. Yeah, I think that would be good. They'll be good. I think. Not I think, they will be. Iona says, I am so open and available. Y'all bring him in, universe. 50 now. Yep, Iona's 50. I'm 52. 52. The cycles, dude, And it says, doing the work from my next relationship over here. Exactly. Same. Same here. When I'm ready, he will come. And it says, I agree indirectly. I couldn't say that. Right? Yes. Exactly. Who knows? I fully believe that. Fully. I may not be actively, like going places or doing things to meet new people, but I'm actually honestly not actively shutting it down either. I'm just, where that's concerned, I'm just letting things, I don't even want to say letting things flow because I'm working on stuff and then just being open. How's that? I don't know if that made sense. Oh my God, years later, glad you got it. I know. I know. Countless relationships. It's ridiculous. And it's so funny and cool, kinda, in a way. So no offense if anybody watches this. If you fit in this this category, so to speak. But it's so interesting in reflection, right? And then you see people that you dated, or you see people that you were married to, or you see people that whatever had a form of relationship with. And you're like, or people I liked, or, whatever. But you run into these people again now with different lifestyles, right? And then years in between. And it's like, hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What's the old saying? Dodge that bullet. Being rude. They might think the same about me, and that is absolutely fine. They might see me online going, holy, what happened to her, that weirdo, whatever, whatever. And that's fine. Totally fine with that. But yeah, reflection is a thing for ourselves and with others. So with all that being said, let's go over 7-day chakra healing challenge. Speaking of, so we have our annual challenge. Live round is for mine, the 7-day chakra healing challenge is the 4th week in September. And then it stays on my learning portal at theenergyhealingschool.com, and it's also in a playlist on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and get started, and you can join us on a live round again, 4th week of September, starting on a Monday. So starting Monday for 7 days. The chakra healing cheat sheet, as a follow-on. So we're doing these journaling through these each and every day, adding some pieces to it because I actually started with a different self-care challenge, but then I had the 7-day chakra healing challenge. And then from that kind of birthed, if you will, my system and acronym of Best You, which again goes through each layer of the chakras that I talk about every day now, and the new self-care challenge, right? Which became an acronym in itself, covering each of those areas of the chakras too. So we have our 7-day chakra healing challenge annually, and this is partly of what Ayana was speaking to. We have our annual challenge. We're showing up every single day to share and support you. We're walking our own talk by doing this, and then sharing to support you if you're doing it as well, right? As a follow-on to the chakra healing challenge. And then I have the cheat sheet that gives us just some quick ways, really. I mean, we want those quick, self instant gratification. We can get some of that through some of these healing modalities or methods on the cheat sheet. Some of the reflections you could take a little deeper as you do your journaling too, but let me just start to share that. So, healing hands is one of them, right? If you are already attuned to Reiki or another form of energy healing, you could absolutely, right, apply that to your throat chakra. If you are not, or either way, healing hands is just placing your hand above the chakra and allowing the body to do its thing. It's like we have energy, we are energy, and there's, in a sense, like an electrical current. It's moving, and then you allow yourself, there's this magnetic charge, if you will, that occurs between both, and it helps clear and align that energy. And the color where that resonates with the throat chakra is like a lighter blue, or you can use turquoise, right? So I'm kind of lighter blue with me on today. You can eat foods that are blue, drinks, use crystals, any type of color. So again, wearing clothing, wrap yourself up in a light blue blanket, lights, whichever you choose. You can even do a visualization and imagine that light blue just building in the throat chakra and hold that image there. The solfeggio frequency that resonates with the throat chakra is 741 hertz. And affirmations or reflections or I speak, right? Be mindful, pay attention. How do you speak? What communication style do you speak with? The assertiveness, the aggressiveness, or passive? And listening. Let's not forget listening is a part of our communication. Do we actively listening to fully hear the message of what someone is trying to say, including ourselves, part of that meditation of getting quiet, right? To listen. Um, and the selective, right? Only hearing the pieces that we want to hear. So active, reactive, and selective. For the affirmations, how do you want to communicate? So you don't necessarily have to use the word speak, But have that in mind as you're writing your affirmation, right? I verbalize my needs assertively and clearly. Might be how you word something like that. I listen actively to hear the full message as it is meant to be. The element of the throat chakra is space. So allowing that space for the communication, for the thoughts to be shared, right? Come back to comments here. Had no clue why I went there. I dodge a lot of bullets. Sorry for giggling, Iona, but I feel you. Iona says massive, right? I have blueberries. Do you? That's awesome. I adore you. Thank you for this. Thank you. And you are very welcome. Thanks for making it on, even though I was early. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All in divine timing, right? So, again, just a quick recap for the homework. Check in with yourself, right? Be aware, assess, and align. Be aware of your communication styles, which means your verbal, your nonverbal, so your body language. Do you cross your arms and tell people you're listening and you're open to hearing what they have to say because your body said something different? Or, like, it seems like kids often like to do, I'm listening, staring off into space. Space being that element, right? But how do you communicate? How do you listen? Do you speak your truth, your highest truth? Or do you react quickly and speak from our ego humanness truth? It's both our truth, but which one and which do you prefer? So if you're not in alignment, meaning, again, I feel like that word is another catch 22. We're in alignment with what we're doing, or we wouldn't be doing it. However, are we in alignment with what we feel is our highest? Are we in alignment with where we really desire and feel that we are moved to be, to do? And if not, what's an extra step you can take to get there? So when I say that, I'm thinking of like the energy of God, source, creator, that energy of unconditional love, right? Some call it in the heart space, that unconditional love. Are you in alignment with that? And if not, what is an action step that you can and that you're willing to take? It doesn't have to be massive leaps and bounds all at one time. What's one step? If you're comfortable, drop them in the comments, drop them in the groups. Definitely get on the calls, our live calls. We have so much fun. The links are in the description for mine and Iona's. I love you billions. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you again for being here. Bye, guys.